Okay, here we go. Welcome, everybody. You're listening to K.I.S.S Recovery 101. This is Bridge Sky here, hosting tonight. And I have a wonderful guest with me. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I can certainly do that. Good evening, Boozhoo. George WolfHowls here.
Welcome. Okay, so we are live, and people could be listening in from Facebook, which I like to have that option because if you prefer to stay anonymous, don't click that little box and you could stay anonymous. And then we also have YouTube, which is open public platform. So I encourage the listeners, ask questions, post comments, interact with us tonight, because I'm going to be more mindful and paying attention. Sometimes I get lost in the conversations, George, and I don't check that. But I do have 3 alarms. So, George, have you heard the show before?
I have heard the show probably like once or twice. You mentioned it a couple times, and once you mentioned it at work, but I've always been curious of like what the setup might be and what the show is about, and I never knew you actually had like a podcast. So this is very cool and very amazing to talk about recovery and be on our platform. So this is very cool. So thank you for having me, Bridge.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on such short notice. Poor George. This is the second time he stopped in to visit at work, and I roped him into another obligation. So I appreciate it. And so I'll fill you in. So and if anyone's new listening, so we have 2 segments on this show. The first one is called the hot seat. And so that is 3 hot questions, hot and heavy, deep questions that you don't get to know beforehand. And you're just going to answer however you feel comfortable. But what I like about it is, oh, Mahana says hi. Okay, good. That means he can hear us.
How you doing, Mahana? Boozhoo, man. Boozhoo, brother. Hope you're doing well.
He says, so excited to listen to you again. Okay. And you were on his show.
Yes, I was on
Rise Up Hour, shout out, Sundays, 1 o'clock.
Yep, Frogtown Radio. It was such a cool place to be.
Yeah, WFNU 94.1. But yeah, and then we do the hot seat, and then the final segment is just for fun. It's called Live Facebook Memes. And I get my thrills at night, George. Laid in my bed looking at memes and the really good ones I go, I take a screenshot of. And we're going to actually be able to flash them up for the listeners. Anyone that is able to look at them gets to see them. So you're in luck, because the beginning of my guests would have to try to describe the memes. And that was an adventure in itself. So they'll be able to see, and you get to see the memes. And so like Facebook, you're going to say if you like it, heart it, laugh out loud, and then comment.
Okay.
It's just for fun, really.
We'll look forward to it.
But they could be funny. They could be inspirational. Whatever appealed to me. But I like to do that. Interact live with someone else. Bring that joy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I have no idea what kind of memes these are, so it'll be my first time seeing them. So I don't even know what you're going to bring to the table. So
it'll be fun.
Okay.
So let's get started. Let's talk about you.
Okay. Let's talk
table?
about WolfHowls. What would you like to know, or what's our first question?
Well, you brought a nice little book there. Do you want to tell people what that is, and do you use that book for your recovery path?
Okay, yes. Well, yeah, so I brought in a book this evening, and it's called The Way of Our People, and it's a really good book. It's a very good spiritual book. This is a book that I used in our recovery meetings, also known as the Red Road, and in the Native American culture, we don't call it the AA meeting. We call it the Red Road meeting.
Okay.
It's another way of like a recovery meeting. It's just a different way of saying it, more a spiritual way. And the Native American culture has, and the culture it's very similar to AA, and with the 12 steps. And the culture and the 12 steps, everything is very similar and close to like lining up with each other. It's just the terminology can be a little different, but a lot of the stories and the prayers in this book make a lot of sense. And this book was actually written by a gentleman named Donald Richard Wright.
Okay.
And I actually know the guy.
You do?
Yeah, I do know the guy. And yeah, he's an elder in South Minneapolis.
Okay.
And he's in recovery himself. And yeah, a lot of these stories in here are stories from him. And yeah, this is a pretty popular book, and it's widely used in a lot of Native American recovery
How did you
meetings.
meet him? Is there a story?
Well, you know, when I first started going to Red Road meeting, before I started chairing the meeting, they were using this book. They were, they were reading through it because it has like 52 weeks, which is like, it's like 52 weeks in the year. And so for each week, there's a story in here. For each week, there's several prayers for that week. And there's also, there's a story in here for each week and a lesson learned and whatnot. And yeah, when they start reading this book and I start going to the Red Road meeting, I didn't know at first that the gentleman that wrote this book, I didn't know that he lived in South Minneapolis, and I didn't know that he was, still around. And so when I found out that, it was a local guy that wrote this book, I just thought that was so amazing. And then we also had an opportunity where, I came to a meeting and he was also like, the speaker. He was like the Tuesday night speaker at that time. So, yeah. So he actually came and spoke to us about his book.
Wow.
And, it was amazing. And very soft-spoken gentleman. So the room had to be really extra quiet to hear what he was saying.
Yeah.
But the things that what I could hear from him saying were really made common sense, and he really said some things that really would, are really relevant to the 12 steps and in a way that the Native American culture and the AA 12 steps, how they align with each other. And yeah, it was such an amazing time hearing him speak. And yeah, I got a chance to later on during my recovery, I was working at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, and he was coming into the community center and having lunch.
Wow.
And I had an opportunity to walk up to him and talk to him about his book. And he had signed my book at the time too, and yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, for an elder to have wrote this book and still be around and talk to him a little bit, it's very cool. So
what an impact.
yeah, this book has a lot of good readings in there, and yeah, I'd love to share part of that book this evening for sure. So
Absolutely. So on the Red Road meetings, are there any of those going on currently that people can find?
at the moment, not in-person meetings because of the pandemic and the COVID. The meetings were every Friday night, and after about March of 2020, when the pandemic came, they were every Friday night, and then they turned to Zoom meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like many, yes.
Yeah, they turned to Zoom meetings, and yeah, you know, I was doing the Friday night meeting. I was doing it almost every Friday for about a year and a half. You know, in my living room on Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on the laptop and Zoom, and yeah, you know, Zoom was incredible, and it was a good bad thing for Zoom. You know, at first when we started, the COVID came, we started Zoom. Like, you know, I was like, what the heck? You know, how do you run this thing? How do you get these buttons? You know, how do you get this set up?
Yes.
You know, how do you accept people, and how do you mute people, or how do
Yeah.
you do the copy and paste for the Zoom part, so you can put it on like the recovery, the Red Road Recovery Group. So you know how you do copy and paste and
Yeah.
put the link on there on social media, so people can click on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like a whole new learning thing
Yes.
that I had to learn.
Had to
with-
become tech savvy.
yeah, with the whole copy link thing, so our people could attend the meeting. And at the beginning, at first, there was only, just like a straggle of people and few people, but over time, like, I'll just give an example. Like maybe in the beginning, it started with like maybe 6 to 10 people, but over time during the COVID, like we would have like speakers come on like once a month.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And what was so cool about the Zoom was able to reach people from like California, or reach people from like Tampa Bay, Florida, or reach people in Montana or Arizona, and just different parts of the country. And we're all able to be in recovery and talk and be in like a recovery meeting, and so that was really cool. And then also, when we had speaker meetings, like sometimes we'd have like 30-40 people show up for a meeting, and the turnout was just amazing. And it was just, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning, starting with like 6 to 10 people, and then the meeting just kind of opened up and grew. Yeah.
So currently today, so there's On the Red Road Facebook page, right? That they can do it. How else can they connect with? Are they still doing the Zoom meetings?
The Zoom meetings are currently, they're not really run right now. I mean, there was the pandemic, and then like the vaccines came out and everything, and the summertime came out, and then, and it's like, there wasn't as much participation.
Sure.
So and then we're trying to get the meeting to start in person again, and then we got told yes for one location, and they changed their mind because the surge came and whatnot for the pandemic. And then so
if they go on that Facebook page though, when you guys get them going again, you'll post it right on that page, right?
oh yeah, certainly. And
is it open to all, or are there certain?
oh yes, the meeting is definitely, it's open to everybody.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what race or ethnicity, or everybody's more than welcome to join, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And so George, Bahana said check the mic. So I feel like, I wonder which mic might not be working. So this connector that I have a feeling your mic. Let's do this. We're going to switch mics. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay. Yep. I could totally hear. Talking to that. Do you hear yourself better?
1 2 1 2. I couldn't hear it.
Is it the same? Oh, we got to switch headphones. Let's switch headphones. Okay. Plus, my voice tends to be louder because I get more excited. Okay. All right. So hopefully that volume helps. Mahana, will you let us know who's, if anybody's...
You still there, Mahana? Can you hear us? Is it any better?
Give us a thumbs up. So we'll just keep going. So where are you at now? We used to work together at Minnesota Recovery Connection. That's how I connected with you. And then you did share your story of experience, strength, and hope recently at 2218 Alano, and that was awesome. I love when people share their story. I feel like it allows me to connect on a deeper level, because I recently shared my story, and there was many people that came to me afterwards that were like, I had no idea, because I'm finally in this like more balanced stage of my recovery. I finally find joy, and I have all these, good things going for me, but it wasn't always like that. And I shared, what some of the struggles and some of, we'll call it experiences, and it shocked a few people. And definitely when you shared your story, I was really moved, and it's just amazing to see you here today, and just what you shared. It's like, it was like your book. It was like a book. It wasn't like, it was hard to believe that, you know, you went through all those things. So, which is kind of why, particularly one of the questions that I have for you tonight, I did have you in mind when I wrote it. So, so how long have you been in recovery? Do you want to throw out a date or anything?
Yeah, sure. These aren't the hot seat questions.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm warming you up.
I was like, okay. These questions. Okay. So the question was, how long?
How long have you been in recovery?
How long have I been in recovery? I've been in recovery about 3.5 years. Right now I'm at about 2 years and 10 months.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep, 2 years and 10 months right now. May 13th, day after Mother's Day.
Okay.
I will be at my 3-year mark.
Wow,
So,
that's coming up.
yeah, I'm like 2 months and like 2 weeks away right now.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so
You're
it's,
keeping track.
it's been on my mind. It's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know, my goal after year 2 is to get to year number 3,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm like, you know, a little less than 2.5 months, getting close to that mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's certainly been on my mind, and it's been one of my goals for 2022 for sure. So
Yeah. And so how do you do it? Like, what would you say? Do you have like a daily or a weekly like routine that you do for yourself to keep yourself on the recovery path?
yeah, for sure. You know, every morning when I wake up, I always thank the Creator for allowing me to wake up another day with a roof over my head, and for the food that's on my plate, and just having another chance at sobriety, another chance at life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the only thing I do. You know, I always make my bed every morning,
Mm-hmm.
and I get part of that from my motivational videos. And in my early recovery, I used to watch a lot of motivational videos, and
Mm-hmm.
I would get up before work, and I would get on YouTube, and I would.
Oh my gosh, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I love motivational videos, and
Yes.
yeah, it was definitely part of my my recovery and my uprising, and what's kind of helped me become of who I am today in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And so making my bed every day was one of the first things I do, and then I had my coffee, and I had like morning meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and I watched my motivational videos.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for making my bed is because that's like the number one thing that I can accomplish, you know, at the start of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what I do, from making my bed to the rest of the day,
Mm-hmm.
as long as I try my best, and I come back home,
Mm-hmm.
I come back home to a made bed, and I can know that I did my best, and I accomplished something.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Even if just making my bed, even if it was just a small accomplishment,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's accomplishment that's one step closer to my other accomplishments, and I can get ready, come home to a made bed, and I can get ready for a brand new day, and I can start it all over again.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And you know, it's interesting you say that because I try to do that. And on the days that I, for whatever reason, was running late or whatever, didn't get my bed made, and I come home and it looks like that, it like totally messes with me. Like, oh, I don't like coming home to a messy bed or going to bed to a messy bed.
Give it a try. Make
That's
your bed,
awesome. That's
make
a
your bed for like a
small
week and
thing.
See, yeah, exactly. You know, there's little things like that. Make your bed and come home after work,
Mm-hmm.
and just see how you feel, and you know, share with us on your podcast about about how your week went or how you felt
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Well, and I like to do all kinds of research and readings, and in martial arts, they're all about like self-discipline, and one of the key things is, you know, keeping your living space clean, but to definitely start your day by making your bed. And I don't know, we're not going to go into that, but I love that idea because it really makes a difference. Oh, there's our first alarm. Okay, so why don't we jump into the clip? So funny you say that, because that's where I'm at. I love motivational anything. And initially I started with just like recovery focused, but what I find that is a lot of the motivational stuff that, you know, they might be talking about success in life or success at working out or whatever. To me, I totally can tie it to recovery. So whatever they're talking about, in my mind, is geared towards recovery. And I feel like it's on a deeper level. I once read something that said people in recovery, we've gone through stuff, like deep stuff. And it kind of brings us to this level, a deeper level of life. And like you were saying, we're grateful. We're just grateful for the little things. We're grateful for each day we get, because there was close calls. Well, I know a lot of friends that didn't make it, and I almost didn't make it. And so I am thankful for every day that I'm making it, because I almost didn't get that opportunity. But yeah, I love the motivational. So we're going to play the clip.
Okay, let's play it.
And it's all set up. My assistant Sally, you've met. She's gonna make sure we get connected to the Bluetooth. So hey guys, I'm just gonna make sure she's got us set up. And Mahana said, why don't you go ahead and respond to Mahana? Mahana says, George WolfHowls is so inspiring. How did you meet Mahana?
Thank you, Mahana. You're incredible too, brother. Mahana, yeah, I was working at Minnesota Recovery Connection as a certified peer recovery specialist, and Mahana was part of the Frogtown Cafe, and collaborating with Minnesota Recovery Connection, and he was coming around. He was volunteering around the building, and I ran into Mahana. He introduced himself and said that he's in recovery and he's volunteering, and he said that he had a radio show, and there was somebody, I think at work at the time, that had previously did a radio show. Yeah. And
Jonda?
I believe it probably was Jonda.
Yeah, I think it was Jonda.
It probably was. I think it was, and he just he said, if you're interested in coming on talking about recovery, let me know. And I didn't hesitate. I said, yes, I love to be on your show, and I'm from Frogtown, so
that's what's up.
I was like, yes, man, let me know when and where, and I'll be there. And it was such incredible time. So Mahana, love your show, and thank you for having me on. We still gotta do part 2, so I don't know if Mahana.
I actually helped keep that calendar for him. I was assisted.
Yeah, I think
so we'll get you on the books.
We ran out of time, and we're supposed to do a second.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Oh, yep. Now that there's 2 of us that are aware of that, it's going to happen very soon. So keep your schedule open, George.
We're looking forward to that.
Okay. You ready? So this is called, if you do want to look it up, it's the channel, the YouTube channel, you can find it, is called Law of Attraction Coaching. And it says 10 minutes to start your day right. Morning motivation. Okay. So there's a lot of people in this compilation. I'm just going to play 2 minutes of it, but if somebody wants to go find the whole thing, there's 10 minutes of this. Okay, are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
When you're going through some stuff, when things go wrong, don't go with them. It's going to happen to you. It's not personal. It's going to happen to everybody. It does. It's called life.
Behind every moment of adversity in your life, there is a blessing and a lesson.
Your life doesn't end up in an accident. Your life is a series of actions that you initiate or don't initiate. And that your thoughts control that roadmap.
All of you have the potential for enormous success. There's a price that comes with that. First and foremost, knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. Being able to answer this question, who am I? And what do I want?
But I got a saying, when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
Pain always leaves a gift. Always. Maybe it was time for you to move on. Don't worry about the people that God has removed from your life. When a door gets shut, all you gotta do is walk up the hall. It's more doors.
First one has to be a mindset shift, specific one, a very specific one that everyone's struggling with right now, which is really giving yourself permission to have the ambitions you have. Most people are half-hearted, half interested, half engaged in their actual dream and actual ambition.
So if you want to begin to grow, you've got to put something out here that you can't reach easily, that has got to make you stretch, got to make you jump, got to make you get back a little bit and dig in so that you can take a leap for it. And maybe you jump up there and you miss it and you skin your knees and you come back again and you bust your lip next time. But you keep on, and through that process, you learn how to leap higher. You start challenging yourself to dig deeper, and then you discover some things about you that you don't know right now. Some talents that you have in you that you didn't know that you can do. And I'm saying to you, give yourself a chance.
What did you think of that?
Amazing. Yeah, I love motivational videos. So yeah, it's.
Is there anything you could take out of that stuck out to you?
Yeah, well, I know the motivational speaker. I know his last name is Brown.
Les Brown?
Les Brown.
Yeah.
Les Brown. He's very.
Steve Harvey was on there.
Steve Harvey. Yep. Steve
Oprah.
Harvey, Les Brown. Yeah, he's one of my favorite motivational speakers. Les Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And there are several others. They're really good speakers too. So
I cheated and I wrote down. So there was a lot just to that small clip. But two things that stood out to me was I love that he said, you know, if you fall, try to fall on your back. It makes me emotional. So that you're looking up, so that if you can look up, you can get up. And I also like how Steve Harvey was the one that said this. He said, pain always leaves a gift. And for me, that really especially rung true. I went to a Jitters meeting I told you about yesterday. God, such a blur. And we were just reading out of the book, and one of the things people were talking about was the God word, and I had to speak up, and I said something about it, because for me it was really hard when I had lost all hope and I wasn't in a really good place to have faith in anything, especially myself. And I turned the God word into an acronym that someone told me was guide of direction. And I liked that. And every time I share my story now, I talk about this wonderful story in the book that's called Empty on the Inside. And that was me. I was empty on the inside. I was dead on the inside. And I talk about how I heard the woman, she's still alive, Beth H., wrote that story. It was her story, and I heard her speak on YouTube. She's on there, her recording her, sharing her story. And she said, I wish desperation on everyone. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, ooh, that's really morbid. Why would anyone wish that, you know? And it took me a while to really process that. And when I finally understood it, I found that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard, because it wasn't until I was my most desperate. It wasn't until I lost everything that ever even mattered to me that I was able to surrender. And now I can say, I mean, I definitely didn't say it in the beginning, but it was a gift. I needed that. I needed to go through that and survive that to really to finally put myself first and really find myself. And so I love that Steve Harvey says pain always leaves a gift. You know, I mean, it took me a year, I think, after the worst of the worst to really say that was a gift. That moment of desperation got me to where I'm at today. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure. Those motivation videos are just inspiring. And another good motivational speaker is Denzel Washington.
Yes.
I love Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And, his motivational speaking is amazing too, and yeah, I remember last time I listened to this motivational video. He was talking about like Reggie Jackson swinging like 2,600 times, but
Yeah.
So they don't talk about how many times he struck out, but they talk about his home runs. So,
Sure.
yeah, and Denzel Washington is just amazing, and he talks about falling forward, not falling backward.
Yes.
And, having something to not to fall back on, but just to take risks and keep trying. And yeah, that certainly has resonated with my recovery and taking risks and trying new things. Especially when you're not really sure or certain if this was the right decision or not, and just going with it, and just if you got a new opportunity and you're sober and clean, and whether you're going from one job to the other, whether you're going from full time and you're kind of going the part time, and you feel like you're going backwards, but ultimately
Could
taking
be.
that risk.
Yeah.
That's why I listen to motivational videos and talking about taking risks and falling forward, not falling backward, and not taking that chance in life. And
It's a lesson.
yeah,
I feel like every failure is a lesson.
for sure.
And even the most successful people, geniuses and artists, they failed so many times to get to where they're at. It wasn't just an overnight thing. Denzel, okay, you had to mention Denzel. One thing that I heard him say was really fantastic. Something like, I hope every morning you put your shoes under your bed so that when you get up in the morning and you get out of bed, you have to get on your knees. It's like, boom, mic drop. Like, that's right. Like, you'll start your day by being grateful, and thank your higher power, a great spirit or creator or whatever it is to you. But, just to start that day really can set the tone for where it's going to go.
Sure.
So, okay. Should we jump into the hot seat? Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a sound effect. It's probably still set up with Sally here. Okay. This is going to make it sound more intense. Is this so hot, George?
It sounds kind of hot.
Is it getting
Sounds
fiery?
Like, something's cracking.
Okay. Well, that's how high tech I am here, George. Luckily, nobody can see what's really going on behind the scenes. I don't do that video for this show. Okay. Are you ready? Here we go. Question number 1. What's your greatest strength, would you say?
Wow, it's a good question. Greatest strength.
And there's no right or wrong answer, of course.
I would have to say, probably my discipline, and gosh, it's so hard because it almost said determination too. So,
Get up
yeah.
on this mic.
So if we're gonna be on the mic, then I would say determination. And that's helped me a lot in my recovery. Is my determination.
I love it.
Yeah, it's such a strong,
Never giving up.
Yeah, it's such a
Just
strong
determined.
word. Never giving up and perseverance and yeah, I think everybody should have determination, especially in recovery, and just find out and figure out what drives you to stay sober and clean in recovery, and use that as fire and to make you want to get up every day and make your bed and to prove to those people that doubted you that you couldn't stay sober and clean and
Absolutely.
yeah, just stay determined. So
I love it.
yeah.
Okay. That was good. Ready? Question
Okay.
number 2. What's your greatest weakness? Bet you weren't expecting me to go the other way with that one.
Gosh, it's so hard to think. Weakness. Yeah, that's a tough one. you know, there's,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say weakness, but there's always something we can always work on. There's always something we can work on.
I can answer. You want me to answer? Just to kind of maybe get your...
Okay, well,
My greatest weakness for sure is my thinking. My inner mean girl is what I call it. I'm my own worst enemy. And anytime I feel fear, and it can be just minimal, like anxiety, like fearful of something, right away my inner mean girl starts talking to me. And years ago I didn't even realize how negative my own thinking was of myself. Now I am more aware of it, but sometimes, especially if I'm stressed out or there's a lot going on, I'm not even catching myself. And I'm quick to beat myself up. Like if I fail or something didn't go my way, I am the first one to be upset with myself. I'm the first one. Okay, so actually, I'll give you an example. Last week, had a little bit of a review of a job, and it was very minimal. It was a reasonable critique, right? Okay. And I think any maybe not so high emotion, whatever, energetic person might have been like, oh, cool, yeah, good tip. I'll work on that. Well, I said, yeah, okay, cool, good tip. I'll work on that. And all day, for all night, I thought about all the reasons that I was messing up or I could do better. And I'm very self-critical. And so that's definitely a weakness, that I'm the first person to beat myself up.
Yeah.
Does that help you think of something for yourself?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything deep either.
Yeah.
You can just...
Yeah, that's deep. Thank you for your share. So, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I had a weakness.
Okay.
I don't know. I think about that. So, I don't know.
You can answer later.
Yeah.
If it comes to you.
Yeah, probably have to answer that one later.
Okay.
Yeah, good hot seat question. Yeah.
Okay, because I kind of have something that I could dig into you more about.
Okay.
Because you definitely seem like a very, caring, generous, nice person. Like you wear your heart on your sleeve, and I wonder if you're able to, not make sure people aren't taking that for granted, because I don't know. You just seem so nice and easygoing, and you're rare. It's hard. Anytime I've ever interacted with you, you're just always you got a good vibe about you, a good energy, and there's not many people that can carry that.
Okay.
Well. So I'm just tell me the truth. Okay, let's just move into question 3.
Sure. What's
just keep that weakness thing in your head. Okay, last question. What's the worst thing you've ever said to someone?
Wow.
Is it getting hot in here?
Yeah.
It is, right?
Question.
What? And you don't have to think about the utmost worst, but just something that comes to your mind that you're that was pretty bad what I said, or that was pretty hurtful, or I wish I didn't say that, or is there anything that pops in your head?
I don't know. I mean, being in recovery, and whether it's somebody at the bus stop and maybe they're struggling with drugs or alcohol, maybe giving them some advice and not really trying to say but kind of talking to them and maybe saying, hey, maybe you should start going to meetings or getting treatment or something, or just sharing part of my story. I honestly can't really think of a time where I'd said something to somebody. But
okay, let's picture family and friends. Maybe when you weren't in such a good place, was there ever anything that you may have said that, it doesn't, I know for me, when I was lost in my addiction, I wasn't myself, and there was a lot of things that I said that it wasn't me, and it was meant to be hurtful. I was hurting people that were hurting me. Well, there's a second alarm. Okay, we're right on time for the hot seat. So a lot of times I would say things to people to push them away, and I noticed that I used to react a lot, is more so. And now, when I feel like I want to say something back, I pause, which is a great acronym. Have you heard of it?
Pause.
It's practice awareness until spirituality emerges. So if someone upsets me for whatever reason, instead of saying what I want to say at the top of my head, I'll pause and maybe even respond the next day, whatever. But I know I don't want to say things that I might regret just because I'm angry or hurt or upset. So is there any worse thing that you said to someone maybe in when you weren't in such a great place? Because you're such a nice guy, but you have to have a dark side, George. I want you to admit it. something nobody's judging you here, you know. But was there anything that you said to somebody that was not pleasant?
Recently, no. Not gonna.
Previously, have you ever had to apologize for anything that you said to somebody?
Really trying to get something out of me.
Give me something juicy here, George.
Yep. No black wolf here. It's all white wolf. So,
Okay. Well, I will take it. And we'll come back to that. And if you think of something later while we're talking, you just feel free to share.
If I remember any type of story or.
So what do you do if someone's confrontational with you? Okay, and maybe it's somebody that you consider a friend. Okay. What do you say, like, if they go on attack mode? Have you ever had an interaction with someone where they're criticizing you or directly insulting you? Have you ever said anything to get them to back off, or what do you do? I mean, okay, let's talk about where you work. Who do you work with, and what kind of work do you do? Let's just go into that.
Well, I'm working in the recovery field, and I work at a treatment facility right now, and I'm working on things on bringing Native American culture to the program, and I've been bringing in a drum group, and we've been doing drum practice, and it's been going really well, and I really enjoy it. And bringing the drum group in and trying to get the fellas to participate in part of their culture, and being let's just keep it real. I mean, being in a city and being Native American, or it don't matter what culture you are, black, white, Mexican, it don't matter what culture you are. But as far as being Native American and being in the city, and with all the social media and the rap music and whatnot, and what's going on in today's world, it's so hard to be disconnected with your culture. So, especially if you're in addiction, whether you're an alcohol addiction or drug addiction, people become so disconnected with, especially with their culture. So, being in recovery and just sharing and bringing in what kind of help me in my recovery process, and get me connected with my culture, and knowing that this is what our elders want us to do, and this is the way of life, and this is the way of the people. This is the way it should be before all this social media and music that these people listen to these days, and get so lost in worrying about the materialistic things, worrying about the clothes and the hats and the shoes and the cars. And so with drumming and language and beadwork and all this stuff, and to be alcohol and drug free, this is the way that Native American people lived before Christopher Columbus came over here, and things like that, and before everybody got chased off and found their own reservations and everything, and so we go on and on. Even got the pipeline thing going on, and several other Native American issues and whatnot. Even boarding schools and generational trauma. But what I'm really trying to say is, when you're in the city and you're Native American, it's so hard to get distracted by other things and not remember about your culture. So part of my job has been bringing in getting these guys connected with their culture.
That's wonderful. Yes, the generational trauma, they now have proven there's this thing called epigenetics. So they actually show through the generation, through your DNA, I believe your lines, trauma will pass on. So if I feel like that gives me hope, because I feel like I've at least found a place where I've been able to start healing and working on myself, that hopefully it now will lessen through the generations after. But yeah, it's a real thing, and the drums are just powerful. I can't even, it's really hard for me to even listen and be a part of that, because I don't know what it does inside of me. I just an emotional wreck every time I'm around it, and I feel like it's deep rooted. But I was adopted, so I don't know much about that. But I took a great class at St. Cloud, and my teacher, her father was actually a student at one of those awful boarding schools. It was a great class. There was so much that I didn't realize was taught that was a straight up lie when I went to elementary school. That was a long time ago. It's changed a lot more now. But anyways, so let's go into what time. We're doing great on time. Okay, so it's
Awesome.
8:47. Should we jump into the beeves?
Okay.
You ready to lighten the load a little bit?
Let's check them out.
Okay, so I'm going to flash them to you from my phone, and then along with flashing them on my phone, I'm also going to be flashing to the listeners so that they also can participate with us. It'll take me a minute to make sure they coincide. Okay, are you ready, George?
Check it out.
So, alright. I just have to go into this. Here we go. Okay, so meme 1, and there's 8 memes. Just so you know, I've had guests previously that were like, how many more of these are there? There's 8, so if you want to keep track, it won't be too brutal. Okay, first one. Okay, you can see it right there. There's a side-by-side. Go ahead and read that one.
My dad with the fish and my dad with me.
Do you see him with his fish and his fishing, and then
Yeah, he looks so happy with that fish in his hand.
and then the picture with her on her birthday looks like
the birthday didn't look so happy.
he was angry. Oh, that's Sally. Isn't that awful? That's so true, though.
Yeah, it's there had to be a reason why I wasn't happy at that birthday.
There's balloons and flowers, and he's not happy. But you give him a fish, and he's very happy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you ready? The next one.
Maybe he didn't get the fish that day.
Yeah, there you go. They didn't give any backstory to it.
Yep, he didn't get.
His poor relative there, or it was her dad. Her daughter was like, "What the?" Okay, this one's just words. Go ahead and read this one out loud.
When someone asks me if I'm seeing anyone, I automatically assume they're talking about a psychiatrist.
When someone asks me if I'm seeing anyone, I automatically assume they're talking about a psychiatrist.
Funny.
I just had to. Would you give a thumbs up to that one? Laugh out loud. Any reaction?
Yep, thumbs up.
I really related to that one because, like, I'm doing pretty well. It'll be going on a year since May that I've been single, because I've been reading this great book, and actually, my sponsor guided me to just take some time away from, trying to make everything else, relationships and all that mumbo jumbo, and just date myself and be in a relationship with myself, and it's been fantastic. So I never align. Like, someone's like, oh, you want to go hang out? I really think that we just go hang out. And unfortunately, there's been misconceptions. That was our last alarm. That it was dating. And I'm like, I'm dating myself. I told you that. I said I would go to this movie with you. It does not mean you're dating. So if someone asks me if I'm seeing anyone, I think, I would. A therapist? A hairdresser? What are you talking about here? Not, are you single? Okay, anyway, sorry. Those too TMI, too much information. Okay, we're going to go with The third one, I just gotta skip ahead. Okay, read the quotes.
Your order is out for delivery. It's one guy and another guy in the window.
And it says, me. And it says the same guy just waiting out the window patiently. Do you get it? Food!
I don't
Do you ever do food delivery?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. George, okay, that's not funny to you. This is funny to me because literally every time I order food, I instantly become really hungry and I just sadly wait for the food. Like, I'll keep looking out the window. Oh, did you hear someone to pull the driveway? Oh, nope. My kids will be like, do you see headlights? Was that headlights? Oh, no, they're driving by. We're just waiting for that food. So, that's why I like Jimmy John's.
Oh, okay,
because they're
yeah.
freaky fast.
Jimmy John's, yeah.
Usually. Unless there's a snowstorm. But they're still pretty fast. Okay. That was kind of a fail. But let's keep moving on.
Yeah, I usually just drive and go get my food.
Oh, I love delivery. Yes.
So,
I love delivery. Okay. This one is very recently.
gas pump. Do you want a receipt? Me. No, I'd rather forget this whole experience.
Rather forget the whole
Sometimes,
experience.
yeah, when the gas pump is out. When the gas pump
It's
is
almost $4 right now.
out, well, yeah, the gas has gone up and inflation and whatnot. And yeah, sometimes the gas pump is not working. That can be frustrating.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
But either way, I put like $20 in, and that normally does me good.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, I was already almost out of gas. I'm like, what the heck? This is insane. Okay, here's another one. This is more inspiring. So maybe I'll get more of a reaction out of you.
If speaking kindly to plants helps them grow, imagine what speaking kindly to humans can do.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a nice little meme. Plants and humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's just speaking kindly. I have a prime example. So at my last job, we all got carnations for whatever reason. I don't even remember why. But, I put mine in my vase and everybody else, puts theirs on their desk or whatever. And I'm a nerd, okay? And I do talk to plants because it's scientifically shown that they do actually, they're living and interacting, and they show that if they put two plants in a room and one they would talk nice to, and one they talked, just said bad things and mean things, right? And they monitored them. And the one that they talked mean to or whatever died really quickly, like did not replenish or do well. And the one that was like they sang to or played music for, like bloomed. That happened at my work. So everyone else's carnation died after like a few days. Mine, because every morning I'd come in and say, oh, you're so pretty, good morning. Nobody was there. But I talked to my carnation 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And then my coworker's like, how the F is that? How is your flower still alive? I'm like, oh, I don't know. They just maybe got a lucky one. I think it's because I would have a friendly conversation with my little flower.
Maybe.
It's true facts.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so the point is, it's important to, especially with my children, I always try to speak positive words and definitely, point out things that they probably don't even see in themselves sometimes, and just how wonderful, great human beings they are.
For sure.
Okay, yep. Which this one actually correlates with the next one. Plants again. Okay.
Every plant has their own requirements in order to grow, and so do people.
Right? So that's why I like the shows about all pathways to recovery, because one certain path might not work that way with each one person, you know what I mean? Like everyone has their own makeup. Everyone has, their own shit they came from, So we're all going to grow differently, and it's just figuring out that that formula.
Yep,
right?
That requirement for that plant.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For your recovery to grow. Okay. Ooh, I'm sweating now, George, and I don't feel like you're sharing my humor here. Okay, we're going to try again. This one's got a cuss word in it. Feel free. This is an adult show, by the way. So feel free to read it out loud, or they can read it anyway.
Me, when someone shares their personal problems instead of memes on Facebook, and then it says, effing grow up.
Okay, grow up.
Flower, grow up.
That's sad. Well, it's kind of true. Like, I'm all about the memes and the gifs, right? It's just more fun, I feel like. And I don't feel bad when I see someone posting some real personal shit about their personal life or, like, putting people on blast. And I'm just like, whoa, that could have been summed up in a meme. And you really didn't have to go all out paragraphs. Because I didn't need to know that. Swipe. So nobody can hate on a meme. And, okay, we'll just leave it there. Last one. Here we go. Meme number 8. This was just good. This was just facts.
People in therapy are often in therapy to deal with the people in their lives who won't go to therapy.
Isn't that true? People in therapy are often in therapy to deal with the people in their lives who won't go to therapy. Do you find that accurate? I know for myself, I was married 10 years. Did you know that? Oh my gosh, I was trying so hard, and it only works if you're both seeking to heal and grow and connect. If the other person won't, they just stay stuck in the mud and stuck in their old ways of thinking. It's really hard to, like, grow, by yourself. And I find that, not to go into, like, my marriage or anything, but, we got married really young. I was only 22. Just barely 22. He was really young. And we just grew into different people completely. So, like, there's no blame there. I mean, my addiction thing kind of started to happen. That also, I could take blame for that. But, like, it was hard because we totally just weren't who we were when we met. I didn't even know who I was at 22. So, but yeah, so a lot of the people in my life, I've actually had to cut off. Well, I don't say, like, permanently cut people out, but I've had to take space and set boundaries with people that seriously need, some type of recovery. And I've literally said, for my mental health and for my recovery, I can't have you in my life right now. And, but I can't ever call someone out and be like, you need to go to meetings. You need to go to treatment. You need to do that. They're never going to do that. That's just going to push them to the, that pushed me away. Someone telling me what I need to do. But also, they got to find it on their own. And of course, my hope is that they do. And maybe those relationships can reconnect. But where they're at now, that's toxic energy. That's toxic, like, not good for me or healthy. So seek therapy if you're listening and you're creating some drama and you want to be back in my life or anyone's life. Okay, George. Any final thoughts before we wrap up the show? Did you want to read something? Yeah. Read something.
Let's read, we're in week 9.
Week 9?
So, yeah, I looked it up.
I love that this is each week of you could follow it through the year.
Yeah,
52 weeks.
Google, and it was week 9. I'm not keeping track of the weeks.
Yeah, I don't.
So, yeah, this book has 52 weeks in it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, like, a story for each week.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, it's called Indian Thought for the Week.
Okay.
So, I'll just share.
I'm gonna listen.
Share off a week 9.
Okay.
And then maybe we can just chat about it a little bit, and then we can.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be our segment, I guess.
Love it.
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and share.
Mm-hmm.
This book is called The Way of Our People, and this book was written by Donald Richard Wright. So here we go. Week number 9. Indian Thought for the Week. Our elders tell us that our feelings of anger were given to us by our Creator. So we must own them and take care of them. If we get mad at somebody, we give these feelings away to whomever we are mad at. Then that person controls us. The elders tell us that we are allowed to share these feelings of anger. But we have to tell that person, I have these feelings of anger, and I want to share them with you. If I use my anger feelings in this way, I will have ownership of what the Creator has given to me. I know that sharing with others is a fundamental value we Indian people have for ourselves. That's the Indian thought for the week. The other part to this week 9 is called Stories from the Rooms. Just going to tell a story here.
Yeah.
A counselor asked me why I wanted to drink myself to death. In fact, drinking was a way of life to me, and I was not ready to change that behavior then. I drank to keep the sickness away, the withdrawals, and the terrible feelings that came alive in my head and in my body. I drank to survive in the streets, and I did not want to stop. I believed that the counselor had good intentions, but to stop drinking at the time in my life was their idea and not mine. I know that I was only going to be able to stop when stopping was my idea. That happened when insanity was finally too much for me, and I found that higher power they talk about in these meetings. I'm glad that they could happen before alcohol killed me. The baby I brought into this world came to the house with her mother to visit with my family. The woman I had the baby with took me to court, and now I owe her thousands of dollars in child support. Part of me says, I'll show her. I just won't go to work. While they were here, I watched the baby and did not go to it. The baby did not look at me at any way and did not recognize me. So I said, why should I care? I do not see that woman anymore anyway. She can take care of that baby for herself for all I care. But I also know that the baby does not know me because I haven't been around for it to know me as its father. The alcoholic in me holds on to these thoughts and wants to punish his child and his mother by withholding financial support. I know now that I need to let my higher power guide me and to release this resentment so that I can stay sober and be the person that the child can respect someday. Indian prayer for each day of the week. 1. I will offer this tobacco to my Creator in gratitude for all the feelings I was given. I pray for the wisdom to know when to share my feelings with other people, especially when my angry feelings, because it is so easy to put anger on somebody else instead of sharing and owning it. 2. I will offer my tobacco to my Creator today to apply the serenity prayer to situations that frustrate me and cause anger, that I can be granted the wisdom to know the difference between the things I can change and those I can't. 3. I will offer my tobacco to my Creator today to realize His presence alive in me, which gives me strength and prevents me from harming myself and others. 4. I will offer my tobacco to my Creator today, praying for the veterans of all wars, including battles like Wounded Knee and the battles with alcoholism we alcoholics fight. 5. I will offer my tobacco to my Creator today for all the humans He placed on this earth to help each other in ways we are not even aware of yet. Creator, help me especially find out how I can help my fallen brothers and sisters who are alcoholics. 6. I will offer my tobacco to my Creator today and pray for religious people all over the world. Help me remember that there are many ways to God and that we are all seeking the same God no matter who we are. And 7. I will offer my tobacco to my Creator today, especially praying for alcoholics who are disabled. Help me to feel compassion for them and show them the way to stop drinking. And that's week number 9, the way of our people.
Love it. So if you were in a meeting right now and would you share, like, how when you facilitated it, do you guys just read through that and then talk about what you took away from it?
Yeah, sometimes we'll go off the story or the reading. Sometimes we'll just go off one of the steps, the 12 steps.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can just go off of what's going on in our recovery. So there's like, 3 different options. It's like any
That's
our meeting,
wonderful.
you go to a meeting and there's like sticks in a can and just randomly pick three topics, and doesn't always have to be just off the book.
Did you get anything from that reading?
Yeah, it's actually, it's actually one of my favorite readings in this book, and I was kind of skimming through the book before we started this whole podcast and trying to find some of my favorite readings from this book, and this was one of my favorite readings from the book. And the second part of week number 9, I can relate to, and it talks about it talks about the counselor, and it talks about it wasn't their idea for them to stop me drinking. If I was going to stop using or drinking, like, the decision or the the motivation and determination and the change was going to be on me. It wasn't going to be on the counselor. It's not going to be on the treatment facility. It's not going to be on any of these things. It's the ultimate decision was going to be on me.
Right.
And that relates to me in my recovery, and I can relate to that, because ultimately the decision was up to me whether I wanted to stay sober and clean, whether I wanted to give the red road a try, or the road of sobriety. And it wasn't up to anybody else. It was up to me, and I had to make the ultimate decision, and nobody was going to make that decision for me. And I thought that I never really gave sobriety a serious chance. And when I was in treatment in my early recovery, there was a hand drum song that was really powerful and made me really like break down and realize how much destruction I had done in my alcohol addiction. And pretty much from there, I started waking up every day, making my bed and having my coffee, and putting my tobacco out and just thanking in prayer, thanking God for another day, and just showing up early for group or whatever had to get done that day. And I gave sobriety a serious try, and things have ultimately gotten better.
Coming up on 3 years.
Yeah, we're coming up on
what's
3
up.
years. May 13th will be my 3-year mark. Will be the day after Mother's Day. So
Yeah.
I'm getting there. So just one day at a time. So
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. And I guess what I got from that reading really quickly too is I like that he talked about, those resentments, because those can crop up really quick. And I think a lot of what kept me in my addiction, it was resentments at other people, but mostly I couldn't forgive myself. And resent means to, if you break it down, means to re-feel, right? And so for me to really look at myself and to really feel what I had been numbing all those years was hard. And it wasn't until, and it took a while, that I was able to forgive myself, that I was able to let go of all those resentments that I was carrying around. Because until I forgave myself, how could I really forgive anyone else, So, yeah, anger. That's just so there's 2, I always say this, it's all that comes from, there's either love or fear. And so a lot of times when I'm angry about something, I have to figure out, well, what am I actually scared of? Where's the fear part in this? And it's not easy to find sometimes. Sometimes it really takes journaling or talking with friends or really processing. I just went and had sushi with my friend Jessica. It was wonderful because I had a really rough week that I just didn't openly disclose because it was really horrifying what happened. But because she's one of my sisters in recovery, and I just know I can just share anything, she was able to lighten that burden on me. And so I'm not so angry anymore, Jer. You see I'm smiling? I'm happy. I'm happy again. There was a few days. It was a little quiet. You're quiet at our office. Okay, well, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you for inviting me onto your podcast.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, this is always fun to talk about recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And just be on our cool platform and
Yeah.
One-on-one.
Yeah. No distractions.
Yeah, it'd be cool to come on another time and we'll talk about recovery. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be seeing each other soon because you're on the part 2, Rise of Power.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you're committed.
Yeah,
because I wrote it down.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great week. And again, thanks, George, for joining us. And On the Red Road, if you go on Facebook group, you can find that. And hopefully you guys do get some meetings going again. And I just want to see. Oh, Bahada says, jeez. You have such wisdom, George WolfHowls. Blessings to you, my friend. So much love for Bahada.
Thank you, Mahana.
Okay. All right, guys. I'll check in with you next week. Have a good one. And we're going to end. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. I played this song that's inspiring at the end, which they tried to mute last time, but it's copyrighted free. It's copyright free music. Royalty free music, Facebook. Okay. So it's inspiring.
Stop drinking at time in my life